The moment I saw tomato sauce dripping onto a rug worth more than my sister's car, I knew my life had split into before and after. 20 minutes earlier, this place had been my sanctuary. A climate-controlled restoration studio in downtown Boston, quiet as a chapel. White walls, filtered light. The kind of silence where centuries-old paintings slowly breathe back to life under steady hands. I made my living saving fragile things. Now it looked like a landfill. Cardboard boxes stamped with a logo of some cheap wellness brand were stacked almost to the ceiling, blocking emergency exits. Packing peanuts crunched under my shoes like poisonous snow. The air smelled of fast food and synthetic perfume instead of varnish and oil. And there, right in the center of it all, sat my older sister Megan. She was perched on a hand-knotted Persian rug I had spent 3 months restoring, casually eating a meatball sandwich. A thick drop of red sauce slid from the bread and soaked into the silk fibers. She didn't rush to wipe it. She looked up at me and smirked. My name is Evelyn. I restore art for a living. I understand how easily beauty can be destroyed. And as I watched Megan lick sauce off her fingers and wipe her greasy hands on her jeans, I knew nothing in this room was safe. Relax, she said, mouth full. Mom gave me permission. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Permission for what? I asked quietly. To use the space, she shrugged. I needed a warehouse for my business. You're barely here anyway. So we moved in. I scanned the room again and noticed movement near my chemical cabinets. Her kids, 3 of them, sitting on the floor, stuffing plastic bottles into shipping boxes, inches away from solvents that could melt skin if spilled. If you don't like it, Megan added with a laugh, call the police. She actually laughed. A short, arrogant sound that echoed off the high ceiling. She thought she was untouchable. She thought family was a magic word that erased consequences. She was waiting for me to explode. But I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't give her the reaction she fed on. My work requires a steady hand. One wrong movement can destroy a masterpiece. And in that moment, my life was the canvas I had to protect. I took a slow breath and looked past her, cataloging damage the way a professional would. Blocked exits. Food near archival materials. Unauthorized commercial use. Children exposed to hazardous chemicals. This wasn't a family argument. It was a liability. Megan frowned. Well, aren't you going to say something? I met her eyes. Calm. Empty. Flat. Okay, I said. Her smirk faltered. Okay, what? That's it, I replied. I turned around and walked out. I didn't slam the door. I closed it gently with a soft, final click. Behind me, I heard her laugh again. I imagined her already texting our mother, telling her how I backed down. How weak I was. How she'd won. She thought I was leaving to cry. She had no idea I was leaving to dismantle her world. Quietly, legally, and without a single tear. And the truth was, this hadn't started today. It had started 2 weeks earlier, at a family dinner I never should have attended. That was where the first boundary cracked. To understand why I didn't turn back that day, you have to understand the dinner that came before it. 2 weeks earlier, I was sitting at my parents' dining table in Newton, the kind of quiet suburban house where everything looks calm and nothing ever really is. Sunday roast. Beige walls. 4 smiles. The kind of family meal that feels less like dinner and more like a negotiation where everyone pretends not to be holding a knife. I had come with good news. Real news. I had just secured a contract with a private museum in Edinburgh, a once-in-a-career opportunity to restore a collection of water-damaged 19th-century portraits. It was the kind of project that could define my name in my field. It required money. A lot of it. So I had a plan. A clean one. I would rent out my Boston loft while I worked abroad. Corporate clients loved the space. Industrial, secure, discreet. I could easily get $15,000 a month. Enough to fund the new lab without debt. I laid the numbers out between the roast chicken and the mashed potatoes, my hands shaking just slightly, not from fear, but from pride. For one brief second I thought they might be proud too. Then Megan spoke. Oh, perfect, she said brightly, turning to our mother. That solves my storage problem. I blinked.
What?
My inventory, she continued, already smiling to herself. I can move it into Evie's loft while she's gone. Way better than paying warehouse fees. And the address will look amazing on my website. Megan didn't sell medicine. She sold promises. Supplements you bought from someone who swore they'd change your life if you just believed hard enough. She called herself a CEO. I called it a pyramid scheme. I laughed, honestly thinking she was joking. She wasn't. Our mother set her fork down carefully. That's actually a wonderful idea, Megan. I felt my stomach drop. Mom, I said slowly, the loft isn't storage. It's a business asset. Evelyn, my mother interrupted, her voice sweet but firm, you'll be overseas anyway. Your sister needs support. It's the right thing to do. The right thing. I looked at Megan, already nodding, already victorious. I looked at my parents, and I understood something I had been avoiding my entire life. They weren't asking. They were reallocating my resources. There are tenants lined up, I said. Real ones. This income funds my work. My father slammed his hand on the table. You are so selfish. Your sister is struggling, and you're worried about money? I stared at him, stunned by the simplicity of his accusation. This was the pattern. Megan failed, and they panicked. They poured more time, more money, more excuses into her, terrified that admitting she was failing meant admitting they had failed too. And I, steady, reliable, successful, I was the emergency fund. No, I said quietly. I'm not doing this. Silence fell like broken glass. You'll regret this, my mother said, eyes cold now. Family helps family. I am helping myself, I replied, standing up. I left early. I truly believed saying no would end it. I forgot one crucial thing. To people like my parents, no wasn't a boundary. It was a challenge, which brings us back to that morning in Boston. 20 minutes before I found Megan in my studio, I was standing in the hallway outside the loft with Daniel, the building's security manager, and a married couple from France, the perfect tenants. Impeccable credit. Quiet. Respectful. Already wired a deposit. I put my key in the lock. It wouldn't turn. That's strange, I murmured. Daniel stepped forward, frowned, and used his override code. The door opened, and the smell hit us first.
Stale food. Sweat.
Cheap perfume. Then the noise. And then my heart stopped. Because sitting on the floor, 3 feet from my open chemical cabinet, were Megan's children. And right beside a juice box was a bottle of solvent. That was the moment everything shifted. This wasn't betrayal anymore. It was danger. And I knew, deep down, that walking away quietly wasn't going to be enough. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The French couple stood frozen in the doorway, their expressions stiff, with polite horror. Daniel inhaled sharply beside me. Evelyn, he said quietly. Is that acetone? Yes, I answered. My voice sounded far away, even to me. The kids were sitting cross-legged on the floor, clumsily stuffing plastic bottles into boxes, their hands sticky with juice and sugar. One wrong move, one spill, one spark. And my entire life, my building, my work, them, could go up in toxic flames. Madame Fournier pressed a handkerchief to her nose. This is not how it was described, she said softly. Her husband didn't even try to hide his disgust. We should go. I didn't stop them. I couldn't. I just watched as $360,000 a year walked back toward the elevator. Daniel turned to me, pale. This is serious. I nodded. My sister looked up from the couch then, annoyed, sauce still shining on her lip.
Oh.
You're back, Megan said. You should have called first. That was it. Something inside me clicked, not loudly, not dramatically. More like a lock finally turning into place. This wasn't a family problem. This was negligence. This was endangerment. This was something that could destroy me legally. The elevator ride down felt endless. My phone buzzed nonstop in my pocket. I didn't check it. I already knew. My mother, furious. My father demanding. Messages about overreacting and ruining everything. Are you calling them? Daniel asked gently when we reached the lobby. No, I said. They'll just tell me to apologize. I pull my phone out. 17 missed calls. And a notification from Instagram. Megan had posted a video. I opened it. She was standing in my loft, smiling into the camera. New office, guys, she chirped, panning across the skyline. Big things coming. Proof that manifestation works. She was using my sanctuary as a prop. I closed the app. She told me to call the police. I said aloud, more to myself than to Daniel. What? She laughed and said if I didn't like it, I should call the police. My thumb hovered over the screen. For most of my life, I had been the quiet one, the fixer, the one who kept peace by shrinking, the one who absorbed damage so others didn't have to. But art restoration teaches you something brutal and necessary. Some rot cannot be cleaned. It has to be cut out. I dialed. 911. What's your emergency? My name is Evelyn Hart, I said calmly. I need to report trespassing in progress at 218 Harbor Street. There are hazardous chemicals on site and unsupervised minors present. I'm concerned for their safety. I didn't say sister.
I didn't say family.
I used the truth. When the police arrived, 2 officers with serious faces, I met them at the door. I showed them my deed. My ID. I answered their questions without emotion. Is the person inside a tenant? One asked. No, I said. She broke in. We went upstairs. The moment they stepped inside, Megan screamed. I live here, she shouted. My mom gave me permission. The officer turned to her. Does your mother own this property? No, but... Then her permission doesn't matter. I watched Megan's face crumble. For the first time, her usual weapons, guilt, tears, outrage, did nothing. As the officers escorted her toward the elevator, Daniel touched my arm. Evelyn, where are the antique chairs? My stomach dropped. They were gone. Daniel turned his tablet toward me. A listing. Posted an hour ago. Antique chairs. Must go today. $400. Seller, Megan. I stepped forward. Officer, I said. I need to add another charge. Megan turned, mascara streaking. I was just borrowing them. That's not how theft works, the officer replied, reaching for his cuffs. And as they led her away, screaming my name, I felt something unexpected. Not guilt. Relief. Because I finally understood. This wasn't the end of my family. It was the end of my silence. 6 months have passed since that night in Boston. I sit now in a small cafe in Kensington, London, rain drizzling down the cobblestones outside, washing the streets clean. My phone lies face up on the table, silent. For the first time in years, so am I. The Boston loft is rented. Fully restored, fully sanitized. I had to hire specialists, people who normally clean hoarder homes or crime scenes, to undo the chaos Megan left behind. Carpets stripped. Walls repainted. Every trace of her destruction gone. It cost $6,200, but it was worth every penny. Every cent was a statement. I will not be complicit in my own undoing. And the tenants? The French couple came back. The Moroses. Daniel explained the situation, and they signed a 2-year lease, paying the full rent up front. That deposit gave me the capital to open my London studio early, and I did it. On my own terms. I don't talk to my parents anymore. I don't talk to Megan. I do talk to Aunt Sarah, the one adult in my life who still makes sense. She called yesterday. Megan pleaded guilty to grand larceny. 2 years probation. A permanent record. Her business collapsed overnight. She now lives in my parents' basement, 3 kids in tow. My parents? Broke, drained by legal fees, bitter and bitterly disappointed that their investment in her failure finally hit them where it hurts. Reality. Aunt Sarah told me that at dinner, my parents still complain about me. About how ungrateful I am. About how I abandoned them. I listened. And felt nothing. Sanctuary isn't a place. I used to think it was. White leather sofas, climate-controlled galleries, locks that cost more than rent. I thought if I built the perfect space, I'd finally be safe. I was wrong. Sanctuary is a boundary. It is saying no without shame. It is refusing to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. It is realizing that blood is biology, but family is behavior. I watch the rain fall on London streets and smile softly. Alone, yes. Lonely? Never. I have my work, my self-respect, and above all, the keys to my own life. I will never hand my freedom over to anyone else again. Not my sister. Not my parents. Not anyone. I've learned something worth more than any painting restored, any rug cleaned, any stolen heirloom returned. Freedom isn't given. It is earned. And I earn mine.